Shadows, the horror movie heroes. By Clouds. Read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 39. Fallout. The dead room was silent for a long moment when Hitoshi and Izuku first walked in. Then Izuku gave a shy little wave, and the entire room erupted in cheers. Izuku and Hitoshi found themselves being hoisted up on people's shoulders as the room chanted, "Shadows! Shadows! Shadows!" Izuku smiled wide and looked around. "Hitoshi, look! There's Jiro and Kaminari!" He waved as energetically as he could without throwing himself off balance. "Hey, guys! Over here!" Their rides were gracious enough to move them over toward that end of the room and let them down gently. "I mean this in the best possible way, but," Kyoka grinned, "you guys are terrifying." Hitoshi and Izuku both smiled. "Thank you!" They all laughed. After a moment, Denki sobered. "No, but seriously, you guys are gonna give me nightmares for weeks. You were brutal." "I mean, we knew it'd have to be to prove ourselves." Izuku shrugged. "This was just as much about scaring the teachers as the hero students." "Speaking of the hero students," Hitoshi said, "where are they? I didn't see any earlier, and to be honest, I wasn't sure if we'd be getting a warm welcome, if you know what I mean." Denki nodded. "Yeah, I think the teachers were worried about the same thing. They came by and collected them all just a few minutes before you got here. Mom said that's not normal, but it's also not normal for the villains to win the exercise, so they're out doing damage control." Kyoka said bluntly, "Forget giving Denki nightmares. You two managed to traumatize the entire hero course." "Just 1 year of the hero course," Izuku corrected petulantly. Kyoka shot him a look. "Shut up, Shadows." There was an air of frustration in the hero classroom that only grew as the teachers filed in. Aizawa cleared his throat to get everyone's attention, a completely unnecessary move considering how every single student was currently glaring at them. "Normally, we'd wait a few days before having our initial debrief, but I don't think I need to tell you all that this wasn't a normal year." "Why didn't you tell us?" Mirio asked angrily. "Why didn't we get any warning on how dangerous the shadows were until it was already too late?" Aizawa simply fixed him with a signature tired stare. "Would it have made a difference?" "Of course it would have." "Think carefully," Aizawa interrupted. "If we had told you there was a villain duo, one with a brainwashing quirk and one who was quirkless, what would you have assumed?" The students were silent. "You would have made the natural assumption that the brainwashing one was in charge and forcing the quirkless one to do their bidding," Nedzu answered. "Remember how quickly you dropped your guards once Midoriya revealed his quirklessness. Even if we had told you that the quirkless shadow was in charge and was the more dangerous of the two, the truth is that you wouldn't have believed us." "It wouldn't even have been a conscious decision," Hound Dog said. "That's just how deep biases and prejudices can go." "So I'll ask again," Aizawa repeated. "Would it have made a difference?" The students shifted uncomfortably, and President Mike sighed. "We can at least take responsibility for the less than detailed case files you were given. Knowing their quirks might not have made a difference, but knowing their other strengths and weaknesses might have. The simple truth is that we underestimated them too, both because of their age and because of their quirks." Midnight nodded. "We all have to do better." "So," Nejire voiced the thought that was on all of their minds, "what happens now?" "For you," Hound Dog responded, "therapy. It would be standard practice in the field after an experience like this, even for top heroes. So I don't want to hear any complaints. Got it? Your brains might know none of it was real, but your emotions are still catching up. I've scheduled appointments for all of you for at least the next month." The students exchanged nervous glances. And the shadows?" Tamaki asked quietly. "Will they face any repercussions?" "Everything they did was within the rules of the exercise," Aizawa pointed out, so they won't be punished, if that's what you mean. But there will still be fallout from their showing in the arena. Yes, Nedzu added cheerfully. Now that we've seen what they are capable of, I think we have a responsibility to do all we can to ensure those two never become real villains. Don't you agree? The class all nodded with various degrees of enthusiasm. Besides, a representative from the Hero Commission saw part of the exercise and has asked us to keep an eye on the boys. Nedzu smiled, a hint of mischief in his eye. And where better to do that than right here at UA? The teachers entered the dead room, and Jiro and the others stopped their conversation to turn and look. Nedzu cleared his throat. Could I have the shadows come with me, please? Izuku and Hitoshi exchanged a look, and Jiro could hear their heartbeats pick up slightly. You two gonna be okay? Hopefully, Izuku said with false confidence. We may have taken things a bit too far. As long as they're not too mad about us killing all their students, we should be fine. Hitoshi shrugged. Kyoka raised an eyebrow. So basically you're screwed. Maybe not, Denki said. Mom said Nedzu is a bit insane, so he might be excited to find people as crazy as he is. Hitoshi chuckled. Gee, thanks for the compliment. With that, he gave Kyoka and Denki a little wave, and he and Izuku made their way through the crowded room to where the teachers were standing. Nedzu and Aizawa broke off from the group and led the two boys away. The other teachers remained and started milling around the room. All Might caught her eye pretty much immediately and nodded toward one of the more secluded corners of the dead room. Kyoka groaned internally. One for All was one of the last things on her mind right now, and she was a bit too worried about her friends to want to deal with All Might, especially since she had a hunch he probably wouldn't like the amplified emotional control aspect that One for All had manifested. But the poor guy obviously wanted to talk, and it would be rude to just walk away. By the time she made her way through the crowd, Gran Torino and Recovery Girl had already joined All Might in the corner. Kyoka set her shoulders and glared confidently at All Might. Got a problem with how I'm using the quirk, old man? Not at all. Gran Torino cut in before All Might could respond. You adjusted quickly to an unexpected development. Good. That's going to be a necessary skill in your career. Nana would be proud. I agree, Recovery Girl said decisively. And you weren't reckless with your health. That's the most important thing. Kyoka raised an eyebrow at All Might. And you? All Might cleared his throat uncomfortably. Well, to be honest, Recovery Girl whacked him with her cane before he could even finish putting his foot in his mouth. To be honest, Kyoka took a deep breath. To be honest, it's none of your business how I use my quirk. Look, I know I have a legacy to live up to, and I promise I'm going to take good care of it. But it's my legacy now, and I'm the only one who gets to decide how to use it. Got it? All Might looked like he'd swallowed a lemon, but Torino barked out a laugh. Oh, Nana would have loved you. You made a good choice, All Might. All Might looked between Gran Torino, who looked like he was readying a kick, and Recovery Girl, who was raising her cane menacingly. I suppose you're right. Please take good care of it. Kyoka smiled. I wouldn't dream of doing anything else. Izuku and Hitoshi sunk into the plush chairs in Nedzu's office, awkwardly waiting while Nedzu smiled warmly at them, brewing a pot of tea. There was a guy Izuku had never met, napping in another chair, and Eraserhead, the Eraserhead, was standing next to Nedzu's desk. Finally, the tea was brewed, and Nedzu poured a cup for each of them. Mira, would you like a cup of tea? The sleeping man awakened with a start. Huh. Yes. Nedzu hummed and set an already full cup in front of him. Perfect. Now, Midoriya, Shinso, I would like to be the first to congratulate you on your excellent showing in the exercise. I'm sure you're wondering why I've singled you out and brought you here, correct? Izuku nodded. We assumed it had to do with us Kinda killing off all of your students? He ended in a mutter. Nedzu chuckled. Why, yes, it does have to do with you winning the exercise. I must say, I have never had to end the exercise early due to all of the heroes being eliminated. It was a nice change of pace. Hitoshi looked at the principal like he was crazy. It was? Why, of course! Nedzu sipped his tea. It was very intriguing to see how you used the students' biases and desires against them. I must say, I've never had a participant try to imitate myself during the exercise, never mind doing so with such success. I must say, I was impressed. Izuku turned a bright red. Oh, thank you? I think it's pretty obvious that one of the goals was to kill all the heroes and gather all the objectives for yourself. Mara said, was another one of your goals to intimidate the Hero Commission? Because if so, you were successful. In spite of their nervousness, the two boys couldn't help but grin. Aizawa sighed. So that was one of your goals. We figured as much. Not the Hero Commission necessarily, Izuku clarified, just the UA faculty. I didn't think the Hero Commission was involved with the exercise. Mara sighed. We like to keep an eye on it, especially because of the occasional case like yours. Mara here is a representative from the Hero Commission, Nedzu introduced. Not that you hadn't already figured that out. Hitoshi nodded, then suddenly stopped as he was hit by an awful idea. Wait, if we scared the commission, then they're not gonna lock us up or anything, right? Not in the literal sense, Mira said tiredly. However, due to the potential you've shown, the Hero Commission thinks it would be best to keep you where we can keep an eye on you and monitor your progress, just to avoid any potential incidents in the future. If this is what you're capable of when the danger and stakes are fake, I'd hate to see what you do against real heroes. We would prefer to oversee your training ourselves, but I wasn't about to give up the opportunity to teach such devious minds. Nedzu interrupted cheerfully. Oh, I was on the edge of my seat. It will be a delight to have you at UA. Thank you, sir. Izuku piped up. We'll do our best. We're already studying for the entrance exam, and you won't be taking the entrance exam. Aizawa said it wouldn't be fair to the other students with how easily you could take out your competition. Wait, no entrance exam? Hitoshi frowned. Then, welcome to the hero course. Nedzu grinned widely, showing his sharp teeth. We've seen more than enough of a showing to secure your place, and you'll have extra private lessons with me to satisfy both myself and the Hero Commission. Is that acceptable? More than acceptable. Izuku's voice cracked. Thank you. Oh, don't thank him yet, Aizawa muttered. He plans to make you two even scarier monsters than you already are. The boys looked at each other knowingly, and Hitoshi smirked. We look forward to it. Now, that just leaves the question of the objectives, Nedzu said. Although you did successfully obtain all of the objectives, you did not leave the city with them. This is both because of the premature ending of the exercise and the fact that you often put the objectives themselves to use in your strategy. Therefore, you do not qualify for payment based on objectives obtained. What? Hitoshi leaped to his feet. But we got all of them, and the exercise ended. That wasn't our fault. He stopped when Nedzu put a hand up. You do, however, qualify for payment for heroes killed, which in your case is not a paltry sum. And as I mentioned earlier, you did obtain all the objectives, even if you did not complete the necessary steps to collect payment. So even though we cannot give you cash, we would like to reward you in some way. Would a full tuition scholarship for UA be an acceptable substitute? The boys blinked, and Hitoshi sat down. Nedzu chuckled. I thought as much. Well, Shadows, welcome to your Hero Academia. End of chapter.